People.
So listening, pay attention. Oh, yeah.
You're looking for capitals?
Teaching consultant John Bayley works with schools throughout the country, helping teachers improve their technique. He's at the Fulston near Barnsley, South Yorkshire, a secondary serving a former mining community. Bailey's observing Head of Science Brian Dalton.
Thank you. Right.
It's mid-term, but it's the first time he's taught 9A, a mixed ability group. In spite of 30 years teaching, Brian's confidence is low, and he feels he could benefit from Bailey's help.
It's not helping anybody at all, is it? It's not helping the class to succeed. You're doing that. They came in very silly, and they came in quite disruptive, and they came in when I sat in the seating plan place, you go, oh, what's in there, this kind of stuff. And I thought, well, my alternatives to that are either just to be very heavy and say, right, this is it, you're going to do it right now, shout, kick, scream, and basically blurt fuse at them. Or I can try and work them round with what we're doing, involving what we're doing.
Brian believes imposing his own seating plan will help settle the class.
I didn't think they were that truculent. You said, I've got a seating plan. They hung around the back of the room. I heard a bit of grumbling, but, you know, they're teenagers, it's kind of their job. But you were going around with your notebook and you were saying, you sit here, and you sit there. And job done. It was that motivational thing again. Yeah, this is my room, we're going to have a great time, this is my seating plan.
I suppose I was looking at the class and being a bit disturbed by the behaviour and thinking, right now, I've got to offer these kids carrots. I've got to give them something to work for.
Yeah.
The target is to be able to move into our own seating plan when we're ready in about, well, let's say 2 or 3 lessons time. Perhaps not this week, but certainly next week. Now, yeah, I was sort of saying this is not a very good seating plan, actually. I've just done it out of the top of my head, and I know that you've got a better one, and you can, if you like, you can have that one later on. And my seating plan is almost like a punishment to make you work.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that. The objective we've got is to get you so that the forces work you did in year 7, you've built that work up, and you're confident with it, and you can go ahead into year 9 using that work. So you're going to say to me today, oh, sir, this is dead boring. I did this in year 7 with Mr. Bennett or Mr. Madison.
When you were talking to them about last year, and you were saying, we're going to be going back and doing some stuff that you did back in year 7, which you immediately told them they were going to find boring. So I know you're going to say to me, sir, this is really boring, you've done it before. I thought, don't tell them they're going to think it's boring. You know, tell them they think it's going to be useful.
You're not talking wrong talking. Really, it's one of the few things that do find that annoys me.
I could see the shape of the lesson plan through here. You were doing some reminders of what was happening last year. Then you got them to think about different kinds of forces and how they might operate. Then you segued on to the difference between force and mass. Yeah. And then you began to get them onto an experiment where they were going to have a practical idea of what Newtons feel like. Yeah. I wondered if it would have been possible to use either the PowerPoint or the whiteboard to give them a map of what that journey was going to be like.
I see.
You know, we're going step 1, step 2, step 3, and during the course of that, we're going to be asking ourselves some key questions. What are the main forces? What are Newtons? What do they feel like? You know, whatever they might be. And at this point, there's going to be a quiz, and at this point, you're going to do some reading, and at this point, you're going to do some experiment. So I could sit in the class and think, wow, I'm going from here, and I'm going...
Right, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Right, now, instructions. Collect a force meter. We're not going to get very far with this today, everybody. Use force meter to find their weight. Now, don't panic. You think, oh, I don't understand what he's on about. I'm lost. You won't be much longer. Now, This is where I'm going to make a complete fool of myself. And we'll attempt to show you a PowerPoint presentation of the work we're going to do. Lee, I want you to do me a favour. I want you to give these sheets out. Now, don't please think, oh, I can't do them, it's too hard for me. Try, look at the questions, see if you can fill them in. Give yourselves a chance. If you can't fill them in, I'll go through it with you. We're going to use this display to go through it with you. But for start, see what you can do. Now, this is where I cross my fingers, everybody. Hope that this is going to work. First of all, we need to get it focused. Because this could be the biggest disaster I've ever attempted, or it could work. Is that you, John? Is that you? If this doesn't work, John, I'll tell you now that you'll be out here and you can make a fool of yourself instead of me.
Go, John.
Okay, a miracle has happened. We've actually managed to get it to work. Okay?
Let's just listen to you talking about yourself just for a moment. While I'm going to try to get the display set up, this could be the biggest disaster that we ever have. Okay, a mistake has happened. If I can make this work, it'll be a miracle. And I was listening to your language. I was listening to it leaking out. And I was thinking, this is about as motivational as a wet towel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, if you rolled up on someone's front door trying to sell them a vacuum cleaner and said, you know, this demonstration will probably be a disaster. It probably won't work. We're absolutely doomed to failure here.
I see what you mean.
I was thinking, golly, he's even negative about himself.
Now, if I could make this work, which would be another miracle, we should be able to find out the 3 different kinds of force you can have. So let's see what we got then. So, fortunately, my first disaster's happened today, but I was hunting for words. I didn't want to leave an empty space with nothing being said. And so I was doing this negative bit, thinking, basically trying to bring them alongside, thinking, oh, they're going to be sympathetic with me if I do the poor Mr. Dalton stuff.
Yeah.
Which I agree, I do see exactly what you mean. So, if you want to take yourself a force meter, you can start.
But you know when you said just now, when they came into them, they weren't really ready to learn?
Yeah.
I don't know, I agree with you about that.
Okay.
Because the minute you gave them stuff to do, the participation rate really went up. So when they were doing, when you had your PowerPoint thing going on the board,
yeah, they were more focused.
Push, pull or twist, they wanted to know about that. When you gave them out the measures, they were really up for that. But also, don't beat up on yourself, because at the end of that lesson, I'm pretty confident that if I asked most children what the difference was between force and mass, and what a Newton was, and could they give me an example, they'd have been able to tell me. So there was learning done in that lesson.
John set Brian some homework. He's asked him to read a chapter on positive reinforcement and given him a few ideas for a structured lesson plan before he sees 9A again in the morning.
Is that the kind of thing you're thinking about? That's not quite the same.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the idea, yeah.
Right, I mean, that was like 10 o'clock at night. Well, let's see what I can do with this. It'll take about 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's good.
It took 2 minutes. It was very straightforward.
Okay. And then all we have to do today is find out what the masses think of it.
That's the idea. Good morning. Come in. Coats off, please. An exercise on the tables.
Right on sheet.
Yeah, right on the sheet, please. There's a code breaker exercise in front of you. It's a merit for the person who get the furthest. Brilliant. Well done. You're all there. So as soon as you come in, you've got yourself started. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Folk, brilliant. That's superb. In this class, we're all good. We're trying to get up to that level 5 in our SATs. That's what we're working for. Right. First of all, I want to say well done, everybody. You've come in brilliantly. You got going. We've got the first 3 people to finish, got the merits. Okay? We might do some more as well. Fold your sheets in half, put them inside your books. Okay? Put your hand up, tell me the last thing we did on Monday. Last thing on Monday, yeah.
We had them weighing things and you had to like lift coats and stuff.
Put your hand up if you managed to find the weight of 5 things. Look on the wall. This is our roadmap for the lesson, our plan for the lesson. That's what you're going to be doing. Complete the practical, what a Newton is like. That means you've got to weigh at least 10 common things. Then I'm going to get you out at the front. I'm going to give you something you don't know to estimate the weight of, and we'll see who can estimate it the nearest. A merit for the person who estimates it to the nearest. Well, we'll see how far you get. Okay, we've got 5 minutes. Okay, get a force meter. You should be sharing them, by the way. It's a weight of things you're trying to find.
And I'll do 10
That's brilliant. Oh, well done. You did 8 things. That's awesome. How many have you got done? Well done. And you finished. First 10 looking up, go. First 10 facing me. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, here we go. Don't say anything. Get an idea in your head what you think it is, then pass it on to the next person, right? Now, don't forget, yesterday, people hadn't got a clue. Who thinks it's less than 1? Okay, who thinks it's more than 10? Oh, sit down. Oh, 1 out. More than 3. You think it's less than 3? Sit down, Lee. Oh. More than 5. Right, ready then? You 4, sit down. Right, tell me, Jordan, give me an idea what you think it is then.
About 4 newtons.
About 4.
5.4.
The exact answer is 4.6. Well done, Jordan. Right, that's fantastic. That's brilliant. In one lesson, we've gone from, we haven't got a clue what it is. When I gave out the people in the glass, it's sort of 1,000, 10, all right. Now, an entire class, all of you, if I give you anything, you can tell me, within about 2 or 3 newtons, how much it weighs. That is good learning. That is fantastic stuff. That's brilliant. We're going to start. Listen to me, please. Just stand down a minute, please. Oh, get your coat, Jeff. Get your coat. Right, stand behind chairs, please. Listen. Have a good break. Off you go.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
When we got your next serve?
Tomorrow. I'm not sure which lesson it is, but it's tomorrow. I'm well aware of making one almighty mistake.
Before you tell me that, because you're always telling me your mistakes first, tell me 3 things.
I just like the enthusiasm.
Tell me 3 things that work well in there.
The enthusiasm, the enjoyment. Yeah, we just made a good time.